Hey, what's up, guys? My modern Vikings out there, how are you doing? Out there crushing it, killing it in life? I hope so. I hope so. Today, I wanted to talk about being lethal. Now, I know I've mentioned it several times, and I've talked about it a few times, but I feel like it's really critically important in the world that we're moving towards. And as we get through these darker times that have been created by weak men, I think it's important that we. I think it's important that we really truly hammer down on this. Um, Especially with recent experience I've had. Um, so, w- Last night I had an interesting uh, situation come up, and I know what the cause was. I know why it came up. Um, it really wasn't anything that I had done, but stand up for what I thought was right. So, and I stand by that decision. Um, but I had someone who's been a bit of a thorn in my family side for a while. Last night threatened to kill me and to kill my wife, and really just kind of was going on a psychopathic tangent um, over, well, honestly, he was manipulated by a narcissistic woman. Now, he doesn't know that. He's too stupid to know that. That's why I also preach for you guys to be intelligent, learn things, learn things like that, so that you can avoid being manipulated. Um, because it's something that happens a lot, and it can be extremely dangerous. In his case, he was letting me know um, through my oldest daughter that he was going to uh, come to my house with his family, and he would kill us. Now, he doesn't know me that well if he thinks that's a possibility. But anyway, this was the threat, and like all threats, I take them seriously. And so I had my daughter call the police. I wasn't at home at that moment, um, and everybody else became prepared for a situation that we've talked about and prepared for. So anyway, um, turns out the police report was filed and all the legalities and everything was taken care of. However, if he does or if he did decide to show up over there, I wouldn't be able to wait for the police to come save me and my family. And I think that's kind of a critically important thing for us to talk about today, um, is how quickly violence happens and how quickly you can become a victim if you're not prepared. Now, I'm a huge advocate of martial arts. I'm a huge advocate of guns and shooting and knowing how to and concealed carry and being prepared and always having a blade on you. I'm a huge advocate of all these things because, as I mentioned before, I've witnessed terrible violence up close and personal, and I witnessed how quickly it can happen. If you're not prepared, you will be a victim. So, average response time of the police, depending on where you're at, is roughly 15 minutes. A lot can happen in 15 minutes. Your door's locked? Well, unless it's all reinforced and beefed up, they can kick a door in a second. Okay, so there's 1 second. Your door's kicked in. Um, did you know about it before? Did you already call 911? If not, well, now it's time you call them after you give them the story. Then the 15 minutes starts because then they dispatch someone. It's not their fault. They can't be everywhere at once, and especially now with all the insane policies and defunding the police, like that's a good idea. Um, it really could be longer than 15 minutes, and um, I think that it's important that we all realize as men, we're charged with the protection of our family, of our home, of our castle, of our sanctuary, our children, our elderly that are relying on us, anyone that's our family, that's in our home, we're charged with taking care of them and protecting them. Now, there's all kinds of things you can do. You can put up cameras, you can do all this stuff, and I recommend that. That's important. Um, you can get yourself a trained, guard dog, and those are great too. But at the end of the day, you can't count on that 100% all the time. You need to learn to be violent, to be able hmm, to be able to do violence like that. Because I'm sure you've seen lots of videos online of people, their houses were broken into, and these people were prepared. And within a few seconds, pop, 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 they handle the threat. Threat over. Okay? Um, Obviously, a gun is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter if you're big or small or anything else. And if someone is coming to you into your home and your door's locked and it's night, I guarantee you they're not showing up to talk about Jesus or whatever the fuck. They're showing up because they have ill intent. They plan on doing you harm. They plan on doing something they shouldn't be doing. It's your job to handle it and sort it out later. Now, I don't know where you live, so obviously, different laws, different places, things like that. If you live in a place that supports bullshit like, oh, well, they were wounded and, you know, they died robbing your house, so now I'm suing you because you defended your family and that poor innocent robber or rapist or killer was killed by you. No. Get the fuck out of those places. If you live in a place like that, you take a hard look at yourself and get the fuck out because that's just plain stupidity. Now, you can start with a dojo. Start with a place where you can learn to fight. Now, there's a lot of worthless martial arts, okay? No, I'm not going to say worthless. There's a lot that are just they're not as effective in today's society. And I'm going to name one, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to hurt any feelings. Taekwondo, okay? Not a big fan of Taekwondo. I am a big fan of military combatives. I am a big fan of Krav Maga. I am a big fan of Jeet Kune Do. Um, the brutal, powerful, and effective martial arts. I'm a huge fan of boxing, kickboxing, anything like that. Those are very useful. That and if you focus on targets in the body and body mechanics and stepping offline for attacks, you will be much more devastating and brutal and truly effective. I mean, we're not, unless you're living in California, we're not looking at how to be more gentle when we defend ourselves. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's martial arts, the art of war. Martial, look it up if you don't know. You need to be brutal, you need to be physical, you need to be powerful. And if you're not a naturally large person, not a naturally powerful person, well, you can still be powerful by training, by lifting weights effectively, by doing all these things that will, if God forbid anything happens and you have to use it, you will be effective. That's that's truly important, and I think that as things start to uh, get a little more crazy out there, you get more social unrest, you get more um, rioting and different things like that, then I think you're going to need to be prepared even more. Um, and I think the more quick, brutal, and effective the martial art is, the better. I think that that's what we're looking for. We're not looking to do all these pretty heely flip kicks that, they look amazing, but the thing is, you're not performing a fucking dance on stage. You're not a fucking ballerina. You're you're not an acrobat. You're trying to protect yourself and your family. Um, I know I recommended before The Art of Becoming a Lethal Weapon. No, not The Art. Become a Lethal Weapon in 2 weeks or less, I think, is what it was. But really, really excellent uh, small section in there about mentally and emotionally preparing for it. The other thing that I would say is I had a conversation with the guy last night on the phone who was threatening my life and the life of my family. And I made no threats to him. I remained calm as he called me every name in the book. And I had a certain goal in mind, and I led the conversation to that goal. And I got him to say things that he wouldn't have normally said, but was able to get him to slip up and say some things that not only um, proved his guilt, but also proved the other people that were involved in the situation's guilt as well. And I have that all recorded, and the police have that as well. So, in any case, there's a lot to unpack with being masculine and being a man. And if you didn't have a dad that taught you and things like that, and you're looking for something like that, well, I guess that's what I'm going to be here for. If that's something you'd be interested in. Like I said, I'm putting this content out for my sons um, because I have so many of them and they're different ages. This is a lot easier. But I realize too that this could benefit all the other uh, modern Vikings out there, the masculine men, the men that want to live out what they're here to live out and be what they're supposed to be. So, all that being said, always good to talk to you guys. It's always good to be able to share these thoughts with you. And I wish you all the best. I hope you keep kicking ass out there. I hope you get better and better at being a man every day. Peace out.